Alright folks, my name is Freyn and today I continue once more with the M41 Bulldog. I did say I would show a bit more general gameplay from it in the last video, and here we are. This is Abandoned Factory, not really the most ideal map for a light tank. You're forced very much into close quarters, although you can do some flanking because of the urban environments. It allows you to get around the side of people without them seeing you as much. But it's not going to do very well for your armour, and you'll often get caught into a scrap you really don't want to be in. There's going to be enemies around a lot of the corners. You've got to pay a lot of attention to make sure you aren't going to be caught out. Something I don't always do the best of. Now, I'm pushing along the waterline. It's one of the best flanking routes for a fast tank, in my opinion, on this map. We've got a larger than average number of players coming to the A point from our team, and I'm just making sure there's nothing ahead of me before I push any further up. There's often players right up at the back there near the spawn, and it can catch you out if you just go all the way down. It doesn't look like there's anything there, so I'm just going to sit and wait and see what comes along. I'm pretty sure there's something around here, I'm not quite sure what though, so I'm just going to sit, be patient, and there it goes. That's Panther D. I could go around behind him, but I'm expecting him to keep on driving towards the cap. So I'm just going to sit and see if I can get a shot on him anywhere else. There we go. Still moving. Has unfortunately taken out another teammate first, but now I can get rid of him. Warning to the driver and transmission. Finish him off with a shot under the turret for the rest of the crew. And now let's get rid of this BTR. 50 cal should make good work of him. Although I've only got a thin gap to fire through. There we go. That's kill number 2. And that seems to be the A point clear, so time to start deciding where to go next. Just keep an eye on the map for a minute. Keep an eye out for any respawners. We have just lost a player north of A, and there's a few enemies starting to push towards B. So I'd like to move my way up, head north, and I'd like to do it on the right side of that central area. There's a few buildings to hide in around there. I can be a bit more sneaky. At first, check around the corner and don't see anything. There is something ahead of me though. And something that just tried firing at me, so I need to run. I'm not sure what it is or where it is, I don't want to stop and find out. Thankfully they missed the second shot as well. I'm not quite sure how that one bounced, but it doesn't matter. SU-152 isn't really going to be able to outturn me there. Once I'm on his side, it's too late for him. So I'm just tucking back into the building and trying to see if I can find out what was shooting at me. Gonna double check there's nothing coming down this side, and then I want to go on the outside of this wall because it gives me a bit more distance on my camera, enabling me to look around the corner properly. Something moving down, and one more in the back there. I'll take care of the one that's closer first, as I have to expose less. It's only a squeeze bore. Pick him off. I still know there's one down the tracks, but I can't quite see it. I don't want to drive around into its view without knowing where it is, or without knowing it's dead. So I'm going to reverse further north instead, and we'll go around the other side of these buildings. Slightly fortunate that this player didn't see me straight away. Nice central shot. The AP, great damage if you can get those central shots. And here's where I mess up. So the AMX-13 gets my turret. There's no way I can run away to repair, so I wanted to turn and try and shoot him as he came around the corner, my best hope. But I chose a terrible place to turn in. hit the train with my side and couldn't complete that rotation. But that's still 5 kills, and we're on to clip number 2. This is Fields of Normandy, and I'm doing my normal tactic here, pushing up that northern flank. It's a great place to go in a light vehicle. You do get into a few head-on fights because it's quite a popular area, but it's still out on the flanks, it's where you need to be. The alternative for lights, in my opinion, on this map is going out towards the A cap. But I've arrived here quite quickly. Got an ARL-44 with his breach already down. I can't pen his front, so I'm going to get his track, stop him from driving off, and then we'll try and finish him through the turret. Couldn't remember which side the gunner is on in this tank, so that could have been one shot quicker. There's also a Tiger there. Now I'm pretty sure he's seen me. This is just unfortunate timing. Tried to go for that central plate, the standard one-shot Tiger killer, but he just dropped down the ridge as I fired, and it ended up clipping the overlap with the roof. Now, IS-1 coming up behind me. I was waiting for him to rotate his turret so I could reduce the chance of a bounce. Those curvy surfaces are a bit awkward. Thankfully, he didn't kill me when he hit my engine block. That could have been very bad, very quick ending. Fortunately, all worked out, and now I can get back to focusing on this Tiger. He seems to be being distracted by one of my teammates. So I'll come up, breach shot first, as I'm not 100% certain on the chance of a one-shot from that angle, and then finish him off. Killing 3 crew in the turret. There's only going to be 2 left in the hole. It's safest to just go for the driver. Firing down the middle is a generally good way to one-shot it, but if he's got a high vitality crew, they might just survive. Now just sit, double check there's nobody respawning in an AA to come my way. In fact, it's probably a good idea to check the kill log, see what their names were, and see if they're still in the game. So let's have a look through. And check the scoreboard. Yeah, they're all out. Great. No revengers coming my way. But now we're losing the sea point. But it's time to head back. Of course, lights are built for speed, and I want to be using that as much as I can. Try to avoid staying in one spot and just keep getting around, be involved in as many fights as I can, even if it's just a scouting tag to try and give my allies a better idea of where to shoot. Anything I can be involved in, I should. Just get around, get everywhere, shoot everything. I'm still using primarily the AP. I've got a bit of APDS just in case. I shouldn't need any of it for this matchup. And there's the culprit that's capping. Shot just a little too far back to get all the crew in one round. Easily finished when he turns his front towards me though. And recap and on we go. Cap's taken and it's off to A. Although I had at this point just noticed that we don't have anybody at C anymore. And that's not going to go well. We need the caps. We can't abandon them completely. Somebody else is already taking A. It should be mostly clear. I'm going to try and stick in a position where I can see the approach to C. I don't want to let it go unguarded. And if I do need to here, I can help out on A as well.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
And there we go, there's a guy driving back to sea as expected. Mark him up and now just try and look for a good visual. Ideally, I don't want to mess up this shot, it'll alert him, might make him panic a bit more or turn his front towards me. And although the scouting does help, the chevrons are not the most accurate. Shot slightly too high. And yep, that's torn it. Is now looking my way. It's actually an Su-85M, so I cannot get through his front plate with these shells. Well, it's been a while since I've met one, so wasn't totally sure at the time. 2 rounds bouncing off is enough to confirm it though, so we'll tuck into the ditch, repair, and we'll double check those penetration stats. Yep, that's an APDS job. Make sure my heavy friend knows what he's driving into. Sit while my engine constantly tries to rev itself into 3rd gear for some reason. I'm still not quite sure why that happens these days. Never used to until a couple of months ago, but never mind. Now, in theory, this Su-85 will be occupied by the Jumbo. There we go. It's not presenting a perfect angle for me, but the APDS will get through his front now, so that goes his gunner. And by turning to face me, lets me line up just perfectly with the rest of his crew. So, that's kill number 5, and let's start looping around and try and clear that A point out. Our team has not done very well this game. It's going to be a real hard fight to try and bring this back, and one that we will not be successful for, sadly. Certainly I myself won't be. As right about here, there is an ASU-57 just lurking in the bushes. Actually an ASU-57 who's already died 4 times, but just keeps getting his way back into the fight. And he managed to, with that shot, not only get my breach, but also my machine gun, and as I'm down a commander, I have no way to kill him. So that's the end of that one. And we move on to the 3rd and final clip, once more, Abandoned Factory. Did have a couple of other good games, and good games that were wins, and wins without death, but they were all on Italy and were all extremely long and drawn out, so I think this clip's much better paced for a video. Once more, I am coming down around the A point. I think it's the best suited to light tanks on this map. Just trying to drive around and flank to the other side. Enemy Bulldog, so 1 for the side of the turret. That's 3 crew and a kill. FV-402 coming past. That's actually quite a lucky shot there. AP does have great spalling, but I still missed the majority of his crew, and was just lucky the ammo exploded. I did consider going for the ammo rack in the front of the hull, but it might not always be there, and it might not always detonate. And if it doesn't, then he's just going to shoot me back through the train car. But he's dead, it doesn't matter. I can move on to try and help the Panzer IIH with this IS-2. Shot under the turret. It's the flattest part, it's the least likely to bounce, and it should get the most crew. So, quick 3 kills. And we can try and get the A-cap into our control, as we're not really making much progress on B or C, and it would be nice to get those tickets bleeding. Now in this session alone I've already been bombed on cap a few times and swarmed on the cap a few times, so I just want to park myself right on the edge of it in whatever cover remains and prepare to run as fast as I can. Light tanks are of course somewhat designed for rushing to a cap, but it doesn't always work out. There's a little gas truck. AA coming back my way. That is a threat to me. I don't have good armour. The M41 is, well, it can survive the occasional shot, but I wouldn't want to bank on it. Should have probably fired the 50 straight away rather than wasting a round on him. But sometimes, if you can get it straight down the middle, you should kill them in one go. Especially with the hull brake mechanic. They're recapping A behind us. So the Panzer II's going in there to check, and I'm just going to approach from a different direction, make sure that that's the only person coming back from their spawn. It's looking that way right now, but there is a heavy and an anti-aircraft gun on the cap. I don't think the Panzer II can take care of those on his own. Certainly don't fancy his chances against the anti-aircraft gun. I'm going to try and get in and give him a hand, so I can weave my way through these trains. Actually got the Crusader, so it was very well played by him. And after a bit of poor driving, I can come in, help him with this super Pershing. Which it looks like he's already beaten up actually, so I felt a bit bad about that afterwards. He was doing a damn good job. But better safe than sorry, and another cap. My entire team's lost up at the sea point in the meantime. So they're all flooding back this way now towards A and B, hoping for an easier time down here. Although a T-34-100 did just kill a guy ever so slightly off to the west of our spawn. And I'm reluctant to let him kill any more, so I'm going to head back, see if I can find him, hopefully not fall foul of him myself. Never mind. He's already dead. And now I can hopefully go for the B point instead. So I'm going to swing around towards the more western side of the map. They'll be slightly less likely to look that way, and I can follow in this Panzer IIH. We've been doing a good job together. I think we should keep the partnership going. He's small and can hide behind a lot of objects that I can't, and sneak around and take advantage of the enemy when they're not looking. In fact, he's already into the B point now. So, just following up and hoping he doesn't die before I arrive. But there's a couple of tanks just causing problems over here. That's a T-29. That's where the APDS would come in handy there. I can never remember exact armor values on some of these turrets. It turns out that the side of that is a little too much for my AP rounds. But shooting through his hull is getting the job done anyway. And we're capping B, so that ought to be clear. Although the enemy is back once more on A. And I've got something else headed my way. IS-2, he's not looking. Maybe I can go for the side of his turret. Never mind, we'll abandon that plan. Mark him up and run before he gets in behind me. Did debate which way to go here. It felt like going left was maybe the better idea, but given there's another gap he might have been able to get a shot through, I've chosen to come around this way instead. And now I've also got the safety of a few teammates with me. I've never been really very keen on having light tanks on this map. As I said before, I can get around enemy sides quite easily because there's all sorts of corners and walls to hide behind, but there's so many chances you're going to run into someone head on, and you aren't always going to have the luck of a shot like that. I actually ricocheted off the upper plate of that T-29 and into his breech. It's not what I expected to happen at all. It was a complete panic shot. I saw someone, I was pretty sure he was looking my way, and I just took what shot I had available to me. Now he's not stopping to repair, which is great news for me, so I can just dissect his crew down, but it is another loss. Japan was really not treating me very well today. Might have survived this had I done this in a few less shots, but this is the end, unfortunately. And so, as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you next time.